What's up, y'all? Can't flip for ship here. And you might notice that this is not the Kraken. This is actually the One Falcon. And the reason why is because this morning I thought to myself, you know, you guys have seen so much of the Kraken as of recent that it doesn't make much sense to keep going with the same Balisong. I want to switch it up for y'all. That was terrible. I want to switch it up for y'all and keep things interesting. So I decided to go with something that maybe you guys haven't seen in a while. And so I went and started looking through all my Balisongs. And I thought to myself, you know, why not try out this one right here? And so as I was going through everything, I started to realize that the One Falcon was the best flipper of the bunch. And so that was sort of interesting for me because I did not expect that, like, at all. And so it was just kind of like cool. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just take this out and just start flipping it. And I was flipping it all morning. And I was like, dude, this thing is good. It actually surprised me. And so this is like one of those budget options where, you know, people don't realize it. They don't think about it. But this is actually really, really a good Balisong. And, you know, with all the budget options that are coming out nowadays, I'm not surprised that this thing has fallen out of favor a little bit with some people. But I am surprised how much, like, nobody really talks about this thing anymore. Because I'll tell you this, like, out of everything that I had out there, the thing that flipped the closest to the Kraken was this. So it's sort of interesting to see where people are coming from along that line. Because it's just like, you know, we tend to think of like older Balisongs as not as good, but this thing is really, really good. It just does everything so excellently. It just executes everything well. And I couldn't be happier with it. And it's funny because if it had better tolerances, I'd probably be flipping it even better right now. But I've just beat this thing all to hell throughout the years. And I'll say the qualm I have with it is that you can't really tell which handle is which is a big problem. But let's not forget that this thing, along that same line, like if you have a bite handle marker, this thing is actually a has a live blade. So where else can you get a $40 live blade that flips very, very well? That's not a clone. You know what I mean? So sort of interesting along that line because, you know, we always tend to think of the options like the Volp and things like that as like the options that we have, but let's not forget that this is still here and it flips amazingly. Tolerances are not that great, whatever, you know what I mean? That's something that comes to be expected with these clone-ish companies or these Chinese companies. But yeah, I just thought I'd come out and say, like, out of everything, for a guy who's been flipping the Kraken nonstop, this is actually surprisingly flips the most similar to the Kraken out of all of the other stuff that I have. Oh, I almost did the chatter. Almost did it. Want to try it again? But yeah, so the Falcon by the One, I think it's like $40 or something like that. You can actually get a live blade of it for fairly affordable pricing, like the same price basically. And, you know, where else are you going to be able to find a live blade of that caliber? It's just unbelievable. So really interesting option. You tend like the main problems is the slipperiness, and then the balance is a little wonky. But I mean, those are all things that you can kind of get over with time. But yeah, I mean, this thing is just great. I just figured I would just come and shine a spotlight on it. It's $40. It flips similar to the Kraken, like especially the Bowie because it's got a slight handle bias. But that's kind of what you're dealing with when you come to this specific Balisong, and it's cheaper than a lot of options. It's less slippery than the Volp. It's cheaper than the Volp. A lot of these options on Amazon that are coming out, $30-$40, although this may take longer to come in, I think it'll probably be a better option, especially like if you can find ways to replace the hardware. But yeah, I guess I just forgot about this thing, and as I'm flipping it now, the more time goes on, the more I'm just thinking like, man, this thing would be really great for a beginner. And this actually has a special place in my heart because when these things first came out, I mean, it was a long time ago. There was no really other option. There was no other really budget option for anybody that needed a budget Balisong. So it's always interesting to see, you know, how things progress over time. Like obviously now the community is a lot bigger. But in this instance, when this thing came out, it was a lot smaller, and it was just nice to see somebody that had those options available for the average consumer. Because, you know, they didn't necessarily have to do that. And so, yeah, I've been ranting on about this thing for a little bit, but check it out because, I mean, it takes a while to come in, obviously, because it comes in from a Chinese manufacturer, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. Obviously, Max Ace and all them they're producers of the same type of stuff. So the One Falcon, if you like the design and everything, I mean, this is a very competitive option compared to a lot of other stuff that's out there. So check her out. But yeah, and it flips similarly to the Kraken. I know I'm just starting to repeat myself, but I just want to make sure that I covered everything. I know that in one of my other videos I had talked about how I like the Alien better, but really, like, the more I think about it and the more like I talk to followers and people along that line, the more I'm starting to realize that this actually is a little bit better than the Alien, just especially for beginners. But yeah, so I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. But this is a really good budget option, and it flips. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better, you know what I'm saying? So it's just something where, you know, you might want to check it out. Let's try to finish this video off. All right, rock on.